U Sports, round 3.
And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, they don't want to hear that from you.
Travis has been solid about these guests, by the way. I got to pick up the slack on my end. But yes, we do have a guest today.
I'm just like draining my savings, paying all these people to make us look cool.
If only that was true, right? If only that was true.
That's not true. We don't have money.
No, we don't.
Yeah. But
We
hey,
have
you know
kids in
what?
sports,
We can
that's
have
why.
money. If you subscribe and ring that bell and comment, guess what? The algorithm's just going to start just shoveling us cash, baby.
Yeah, that's unfortunately
That's
not
the
how it works.
only
But yeah,
reason
sure.
we do it.
Yeah, for all 3 listeners out there. Thanks, Mom. So Travis, who do we have on? I know we talked youth sports. We had a session 1. I kind of explained my story of having kids kind of spread amongst the arts and the sports and dealing with that. And then we had a great guest who was a guest of some teenagers doing some triathlons in New Zealand. And so now we have a special guest specifically for youth sports. So take it away, like the magnificent intro that you always prepare.
Oh, it's not me. It's always those wonderful guests that we have. They provide the goods. We have a wonderful bio here that I'm gonna tell you all about our special guest today. And yeah, talk about just a specialized view of some youth sports in action. This is what we're getting today, and I'm excited about it. So, let me first introduce this fine man we have, this fine dad coming in today. He's the co-owner of Soccer Shots Sacramento, a youth soccer program that's focused on introducing kids to the game while helping them build confidence and character. He and his wife, Megan, have been running Soccer Shots together for over a decade. He first got involved with Soccer Shots while working in the Bay Area, and eventually they launched and grew the Sacramento franchise. He cares a lot about youth sports, building strong teams and creating positive early experiences for kids through movement and play. He's also a dad of a 5-year-old daughter, Lena, which gives him a front row seat to youth sports from both the coaches and the parents' perspective. Everybody, please welcome Dave to the show.
To the show.
Welcome, Dave. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited to hear all of your experience just given to us.
Exactly.
That's how we expect it to be, just you know.
Sure.
But it's hard to just immediately, jump into the meat and potatoes, as we like to call it. So I like to start off with a little bit of an appetizer to say wet your whistle, maybe. So Dave, just to work us in, okay. I want to talk about something that's easy for, I feel like, dads to talk about. Okay. And our intro, our segment today is going to bring us back to if any listeners out there have heard us talk about it before. We like to touch on driving here and again. Talk about the driving, the drivers. We what's the nice way to put it? Run into.
I was going to say pause for a second. Yeah. Think of what you want to say. There you go.
Okay. So
Say what you mean, Travis. Say what you mean.
Here's my thought. Here's my thought here, and this is what I've been soaking on for quite a while. Okay, so the driving morality is extremely subjective. I have noticed, which in turn causes, the chaos that is the roads that we drive. And I mean, if only there was a little bit more of an objective thing, that's just not going to happen, right? So I just wanted to get our take on this one. I found it interesting, and I guess I'm just trying to kind of like preach to myself, like I need to like cool the jets maybe a little bit, but also like I think I have a strong point here too. So both things. Red lights, you should stop at them.
Yeah, I think that's universal. Yeah.
Right? Now, here's the tangent. Here's the side thing that I feel like everybody that I live next to doesn't care about, including my sweet wife. Okay. So we get on the same on-ramp, every day when we're heading to the places that we commute. And they just added a red light, for the on-ramp there. They've
Mhm.
been working on that throughout, along the whole freeway, right? We live in NorCal where it's not, they weren't always all there. In SoCal, it's like, everything has a light. You gotta,
Mhm.
but yeah, so it's on a curve, right? So I want to give some people the benefit of the doubt. It's like in that zone where your rear view mirror is, like when you're driving around the curve,
Mhm.
as the new light is installed, maybe your first, second, maybe third time that you've come around that curve, you don't notice that the light's there. And so
Mhm.
you drive through it, right? And so what I've realized though is now the red light has been there for, and I say red light because it's usually red when it's on because you have to stop first and then it turns green, you know? Um, but I think there are a lot of guys out there that are probably thinking the opposite of what I think. And they're probably going, bruh, those lights on the on ramps are stupid. Like they're not. Who's keeping track of it? Who's paying attention to those lights? Nobody cares. It's just stopping me from getting where I need to go.
Mm.
So, what do you think about lights on ramps?
Dave, I'll let you take this one first if you have any input for Travis here.
I mean, I honestly, this is probably the most thought I've ever given. It.
Me as well, my friend. Me
Welcome
as
to the
well.
show.
I didn't
I
know.
like to flesh things out a little bit.
I don't know if I have a hot take on red lights. I guess here's my hot take. Um, I get the purpose of them in terms of just slowing down, people coming onto the highway, which impacts traffic. My, I think my frustration lies in when the sign says 2 cars per green and
Ah,
only
mhm.
one
Oh,
car goes.
oh yeah.
So
Yep.
that I mean, if I have any quarrels with the on ramp light system, it's just people not reading signs. I guess that can be applied to any sign anywhere on the road.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that one in
Yeah.
particular, I'm like, go read. Anyways, I get that's the only thing that maybe winds me up about the on ramp light. Outside of that, I don't have any quarrels with it. Except some of them also just seem to stay red for far too long, and I'm like, is it broken or should I just go?
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
you know
think
what?
down.
Those are fair
Go ahead,
points. Those
Travis.
are fair thoughts. There have been some red lights where I'm like, man, wow, I'm sitting here for more than a stop. That's for
Mhm.
sure. And
Yeah. Yeah.
also, yeah. So the question, Dave, is do you even it out? If one person goes through the light, do you go, oh, I'm the second car now, I'm gonna go, or if you're the third car, you're like, hey, there should have been 4 cars that went through these two lights, and now it's three,
Mhm.
so let's fix it.
No, I'm just kind of like, let's get this back on track.
Come
Like,
on,
Mhm.
guys. Yeah,
I think I just do wherever I'm at that point. I'm like, am I either the first car or second car? If I fall in the first two, I go when it turns green. If I'm the
there you
third
go.
car and someone missed it, I just, you just shake
Yeah.
your head and you wait.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Rob, sorry I cut you off. What
Yeah.
were you gonna
No, no,
say?
you're good. In Southern California, there's kind of like I guess, a city hack where they put a carpool lane for the on ramp along with the light. So if you have a carpool car, which we have kids and we're always driving with the kids, then you kind of bypass all of that. But I have noticed, I guess this is my hot take on this, probably over the last like 3 to 4 years, more and more people I've noticed are starting to run the lights, stop sign, like just in general. And I think it's because of like that overwhelm, kind of checked out, rushing stages that we kind of get into chapters of our life where it's automatic. You kind of drive to work, drive to home. You don't know how you got home. You don't know how many lights you hit. And so I think a lot of times people are missing lights because they're not even there, right? They're just music's on or podcasts on, they're driving, not knowing that a light's telling them to stop. And even today, I saw two people fully just take off on a red light. Thankfully, other people crossing were had the awareness to realize that this person doesn't know the lights are on, figuratively and literally. So yeah.
See, and this is why we have Rob. He balances us out. And by us, I mean me. Gives us the benefit of the doubt. People out there like maybe what could
It's
they be
tough.
thinking, right?
We're all
You know,
tired. Yeah, we're all tired.
um, today I got to that curve. Well, see, now here's the thing. This one's tricky because they put the red light also for the carpool lane, which I
Oh,
think
wow.
also
Okay.
upsets some people because all the other ones, yeah, the carpool lane's open, but this one,
Mhm.
that also is a stop. Um, but I was talking to my wife about this, and I'm like, literally every day I drive up to the ramp, and it's like, boom, ran the red light, boom, ran the red light. Like it literally the whole line. They just up, nope, 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 nope. Nobody even tapped their brakes. They're just like, yeah, forget about that.
They should do what
And
they do down here. There's a cop car right there. A lot of times during traffic hours for that reason, people are just running
yeah,
the light.
see, so and I'm almost want to like call them up. I'm not gonna be a Karen, okay? I'm not gonna call. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not even close. But yeah,
No,
sometimes I wish there was a cop there. I'm like, hey, look, I follow the rules. But guess what? I'm no better than anybody else because that stop sign that's on the bridge, that I feel like should be yield.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped stopping there like a year ago. So I just drive through and I don't stop at the stop sign. Is that just as egregious? I, probably, it's a
mm,
one-way bridge, so I can see if somebody else is coming. Nobody's coming cross traffic. That doesn't exist. So that's the way I have subjectively, you know, inserted my own morality on the situation. Deb, she says, "Well, I'm going uphill on the on ramp. It stops me. Then it takes forever to get safely to a speed to get on. Anyways, I'm not going to stop." I'm like, "How dare you? What? You're not going to stop at the red light?" She's like, "Well, you don't stop at the stop sign, so."
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a family thing that you guys should discuss, off air.
No, no, I'm just
The
going to
difference
say,
of stop signs and red lights.
you know what? Yeah, we're all breaking the rules, and so I think I need to like chill a
Mm,
little bit. All I think everybody else is a little
yeah,
more chill than me, and I think I need to take note of that.
I
it's
don't
Maybe.
just
know.
drive.
I don't know if this was an intentional, but I think the segue for me into youth sports is there's this idea of like, I'm not. I've just there's like we demand justice but beg for mercy. So like
Hmm.
when fouls happen on the field, right, and you think it didn't go your way, or it was a wrong call. We make all these excuses as to why the ref shouldn't have made that call. But then when a foul of equal or even lesser intensity happens against you, you demand justice and you want the ref to, blow the whistle or make the call. But it's all, we rationalize and justify all of these things in our life, and I think it applies to lights as well.
The
Well put,
golden
sir. Well
nugget
put,
for the
sir.
day brought to you by Dave. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave is on the show,
There
and
you
it's
go.
time to talk about soccer shots because what a perfect segue. Wow. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for that. We could just end the podcast right here, guys. It was great talking
That
with
was
you.
enough.
We'll see
That's
you
the
later.
10% for the day. There you go.
Oh man. Okay, now we have our intro. Okay, Dave. So, um, yes, for the sake of your time, I'm really excited to hear about it. So, tell us a little bit about kind of two things, two parts is
Yeah.
what Soccer Shots focuses on. Is it like an all year thing? Is it a camp thing? Is it a specific week long or how long? And what do you guys do? And then also, what drew you into that
Yeah, the
over a
origin
decade
story.
ago? Yeah, what's the origin story?
Yeah. I think it might be easier for me to start with the origin story.
Yeah.
Grew up playing soccer. I grew up playing all kinds of sports. Soccer has always been the constant in my life. Played competitively growing up, played in high school, college, played a little bit of semi professional after college. I still play today as long as my hip allows it. Um, the wintertime, it really hurts.
Hmm.
But I went to college. I studied general ministry, which was just more of a curiosity to learn more about the Bible, but I had no intention of really working in the church or doing anything with it. I always knew I'd do something with soccer, and I didn't know in what capacity. Um, when I got married about 14 years ago, I took a position as a coach with Soccer Shots in the Bay Area. I had a little bit of coaching experience in elementary, junior high, high school, but that was my first exposure to the preschool age. And it was a natural fit. I enjoy children. I've always just had an ability to engage with them, and it's always been positive, and it was fun for me. So I coached for about 6 to 8 months with Soccer Shots in the Bay Area, and then stepped into an assistant director role with that program, and extremely grateful for my boss, James Evans, who I'm still very close with to this day. He was just a good businessman. He knew how to run a good program. He does business well. I learned a lot from him. I have no business background as far as experience or even on the education side. So I was with him for about 3.5 years. And then in 2014, talked to Meg and I was like, hey, I think we can do this in Sacramento on our own. So fast forward to today, we're now celebrating 11 years of running
Congratulations.
in Sacramento. So it's been a wild ride. It's been, lots of ups and downs, and there's been a lot of lessons learned. Yeah, I think to kind of touch on the question about like what Soccer Shots is, it really is. These are the most formative years of a child's life. The 2 to 5, 2 to 8 year old age are very impactful and impactful. And I think the thing that Soccer Shots does so well is it is founded in like early childhood education principles, and how the curriculum's designed, and how we are trained to engage children. And um, it's meant to be a program where kids fall in love, not just with soccer. Of course, we want them to love soccer, but it's
Mhm,
designed to help them fall in love with play, sports, and a big part of that is the environment that you create for the kids. So,
mhm,
like you said in the intro, the emphasis really is on character development. Of course, we teach them soccer. They learn a lot. It's all disguised in creative play. We're going to outer space. We're cookie monsters. We're in the tundra in the Arctic. And we use a lot of creative play to teach skills and play games with kids. And I think there is a longing and desire for that type of program in the market. Families want their kids to love it. They want their kids to have fun. They want their kids
mhm,
to feel safe. They want them to be with coaches who care about them as a child first and understand like how 3 year olds behave and 4 year olds behave and what makes them tick and how do you engage with a child who's having a tantrum or who's shy or who's struggling with confidence. And I think that's something that we've done really well, which has, in turn allowed us to be not only successful in Sacramento, but across the country. So it's been
mhm,
great. It's definitely like I didn't know what I would be doing in terms of soccer and in my career, but God's always looking out for his children, and this is definitely a blessing that he put on my lap, 15 years ago, and I just took a leap of
mhm.
faith and I said, hey, let's lean into this. So it's been mine and Megan's business for the last 10 years, and it's been great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Congratulations again. 10 years is no joke. I mean, most businesses within that first year struggle pretty hard, and we all do, right? There's definitely some grinding that first couple of years, but to be a successful business, and again, everyone has a different definition, but the fact that you're still doing what you're passionate about a decade later,
Mhm.
kudos to you and Megan, and Sacramento's lucky to have you guys, because I know from our perspective in Orange County, my kids have been through Soccer Shots and they love it. And I love what you referenced, how it's play and creative driven. My girls never came home and said, "Dad, I was left winger and we shot on goal twice." Right? It was always games. Like, "Oh, I was a knight and we slayed the dragon."
Mhm.
And that's terminology and culture that they can relate to. Versus if we use like adult language or like teams language, a lot
Mhm.
of times at that age it doesn't stick. And so all my girls went through Soccer Shots. I still have one in Soccer Shots right now. So yeah, it's a great program, at least from a parent point of view, paying for Soccer Shots. You guys are doing a good job.
I'm happy to hear that.
That's the awesome thing that I always want to hear when it comes to, youth sports at the age that my kids are, right? That
Mhm.
your kids, Dave, too, and even Rob, you
Mhm,
with Little League, like you got um this stage of life being just primarily about play. Like it shouldn't be this like, come on, go, like I
yeah.
I guess that's the side of youth sports that we don't really want to see, or like I say I don't want to. I'm not very interested in being part of is like this like, oh, it's all about the competition,
Mhm.
um
Mhm,
but about the play and just it's That's fun. I didn't even realize like that there's that terminology that you guys put into it when they're this age, but it makes complete sense. And so, um, you well, before we dive into it, like your experience even just with Lena being involved too, with your daughter, I'm just curious, what did that look like for you guys to take this on in Sacramento when you started? Was it is it like a franchise thing where they're just like, "Here, plug and play," or did you have to develop that? This is a little more entrepreneurial question compared to the youth sports question, but I am curious just from your experience.
Yeah, I mean, that's I think it's a very relevant question that I'm happy to speak on because yeah, it's funny. I still get, I mean, maybe not as much, but for a while I got questions from friends and other parents in the program like, "Oh wow, like do you do this full time or do you have or
Hmm.
what other jobs do you have?" It's
Yeah.
like this is it. This is time. And I think that's a um that's a normal question because a lot of coaching is piecemeal work. I have a lot of friends that they're trainers and they have various numbers of club teams and maybe they coach college or high school, and so they string all of these different ways that they're coaching together to make it full time.
Hmm.
But this has been full time for us, and I think I grew up. I've never been great at school. I wasn't bad at school, but I didn't care for school. I didn't always like. I knew I was never like assembly line thinking or like having just a job for me has never been like a motivating thing or a thing I thought I would do. But I also never had like an entrepreneurial itch. So I think what allowed me to be successful in Sacramento was I had a great boss in the Bay
Hmm.
Area who just modeled what it looks like to run a good program. And then I think I just had a drive to try to figure it out on my own. And I think a lot of that comes from my sports upbringing. But when you buy a franchise, there's no like existing accounts or families out.
Hmm.
You just basically take a proven curriculum and system and then you pound the pavement and start implementing.
Yep. Start knocking on doors.
In
Hustle.
2014, right? Like I had 0 schools and 0 kids, and
Hmm.
you just had to go out and start. So KinderCare in El Dorado Hills was my first school. Amy Dodge was the director I sold to. I wish I would have saved the registration form of the first child that signed.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's so that would have been cool, but yeah, it's very much, it is what you make it. And I think every
Mm.
owner of their own franchise, everybody does it a little differently, but those that want to really make something of it, you got to put it full time. You got to put everything into it. So um yeah, it's and then it's just day by day. You just keep showing up, you keep knocking on doors, you hire, you try to make the best decisions that you can. Um, and I think the thing that's helped out here, and Travis, you know this, and you might even know Robert as well. There's obviously a lot of young families in the Sacramento region. Soccer is extremely popular out here.
Mm.
And so I knew there was a market for it. I didn't know how successful Soccer Shots would be. I can only just take my experience in the Bay Area and be like, okay, I'm pretty sure it's going to be successful out here, but you don't know until you actually come out here and try to do it.
Hmm.
But it definitely helps that there's a lot of young families here. Soccer is accessible, right? You just need, if a kid can walk, you just need a flat space and some balls and cones, and then some curriculum and kids. And so it's generally affordable. You don't have to buy a lot of different equipment. We don't have
Hmm.
kids pay for anything. It's just pay for the season. You don't have to have cleats, shin guards, or anything like that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
How long is the program
Yeah,
then?
like what's the scope of the practice? Is it just school relationship? Is it camps? Like what does you don't have to break it down like Q1, Q2, but what's the scope of the year? Is it like heavily school dominant and some summer camps, or like what's the breakdown?
I would say today it's half school programs and half
Mm.
public programs. So I think over the years, you start in schools, and then once you kind
Mm.
of gain a reputation, you can start opening public programs. That's kind of the route that we went. And so right now we serve about 75 schools in the Sacramento area, and then we have, I don't know, 17, 18 public locations.
Mhm.
And it's seasonal. We're year round, but we run seasonal. So right now we're finishing our winter season, and then we're launching our spring season, in 2 weeks. And then we do camps in the summertime.
Yeah, so
Nice.
full-time, full year job. That's
Yeah.
basically it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know from knowing Dave, like him and Megan, and the team that he has are putting in the work, just getting out to all I mean, you guys have a lot of balls in the air now, which is awesome. Like thinking back from when you started, like, okay, let's go find some people. Like
Mhm.
It
that's
definitely
really
feels
cool.
it definitely feels out of control. Like when it's small, right? It's just like you can have your hand in everything. And then when we have about 23, 24 employees, it's just like it just feels it's good. Like we have an amazing team, and I'm super grateful for the people that we have, and that always hasn't always been that way. You do your best to hire the right people.
Mhm.
They don't
Mhm.
always work out, but we definitely put a lot of trust in other people to grow this, because it's bigger than any one of us. And so if you want to have a big impact, you need to invite people along for the ride. And we are
Mhm.
grateful for the team that we have. They do put a lot of effort and work into it, so couldn't be where we're at without them.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome. Yeah. So now you started this thing and you were like a business owner, you were sales guy, and then you were coaching, and
Hmm.
you had coached prior too, and you grew up with soccer, right? So you had that perspective, and then you have your daughter. And
Hmm.
Mhm.
so what are you noticing um that is kind of mirrors your experience as a kid with her, that you're kind of reliving? And then what are you seeing that maybe is a little different? Yeah,
From
I
like
don't
the
know.
parent perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, from the parent perspective instead of the coach perspective.
See, it's a good question. Lena, let's see. My upbringing, I mean, I started most of my, I mean, that was a long time ago, but I started in just rec soccer. So whatever
Mhm.
the city league is, which still exists today. Um, and a lot of those are coached by volunteer parents.
Mhm.
So when you have volunteer parents, it's a mixed bag of coaching styles and
Yeah.
priorities, and how they engage with the children that they're coaching. Every parent comes into it with good intentions, uh,
Mhm. Mhm.
but not all intentions are beneficial to the child. So I think I obviously had decent enough coaches where I still like loved the game, and I played, obviously loved soccer, but a lot of kids stop playing sports because of A, parents, and B, coaches. And so
Mhm.
my coaches were good enough at a young age that I still loved the sport. My dad did eventually start coaching me because there was one or two parents where he was like, they just don't know what they're doing with children. So he didn't know anything about soccer. So he read some books like Soccer for Dummies, and then he's like, "I'm going to coach the rec team for like a couple of years, and then when you go on to play competitive, obviously, I'm going to leave that to the
Yeah.
expert." So I didn't really have any experience with something like Soccer Shots. Lena, obviously, so she does that at her school, and she started when she was 2.
Mhm.
My situation with her is a little bit unique because I'm not putting like the soccer program that she's in. I know who the coaches are, so I know she's
Mhm.
being coached by people that are generally good with kids. They're all different, right? Every coach is on their own path when it comes to learning how to coach, and we work with a lot of young individuals that are in their maybe early 20s, and so they're not parents by any means. They don't have a lot of experience, but we do teach them a lot of these principles and how to engage with kids. So I'm grateful for that experience for Lena. She still does soccer shots. She's done it every season. There was one season she took off. A coach was like, "Hey, I've had to take Lena back to class a couple times." So I talked to Lena and I was like, "Hey, do you want to take a break from soccer? Because I'm hearing that you're going to the playground or not listening."
Mhm.
And I said, "It's okay if you don't want to play. Like that's not gonna make me feel any certain way. But what's not okay is you like being disruptive or not listening to the coach. So if you want to take a break, that's okay." So she took a break for maybe half a season. The next season, she was like, "I'm ready to do it again."
Mm.
So she's been doing soccer shots since she was 2. She's now 5. She's ready for real soccer, which is what a
Mhm.
lot of kids say when they're in soccer shots. Like, I'm ready for real
Real
teams.
soccer.
So I'm not quite in the world yet of, my daughter being in a league setting. But
Mhm,
I'm obviously have been around and I'm still around it. So I'm
mhm,
very familiar with the dynamics of league soccer and competitive soccer and parents and coaches. So that I feel like I'm fortunate to have the background that I have because I can help her navigate it and
mhm,
myself as a parent, but I'm just not going through it just yet. Like we're about
mhm.
to, but
Yeah. Yeah. I I'm wondering if anything comes to mind for you with this question. This kind of came up, and this is not what I wrote down for you to be prepared for. So,
yeah.
but is there anything that you might say to the parents listening, in regards to like how they can navigate youth sports like with their kids as far as like knowing whether it's a good thing or not, based off you said like kids leave sports because of parents or coaches, right? And
Mhm,
I get that. So it's like how can we be the most supportive and also just like the most like aware of like like you just displayed awareness when you were talking about Lena, like
mhm,
hey, maybe you need a season off, right?
mhm.
um is there anything that comes to mind for you that you could say to parents as far as like here's a good thing to do and here's not a good
Yeah.
thing to do?
Or things to look out for, like things
Yeah.
that you have planned for Lena, like since you went through the system, like you already know what it feels like to have other parents talk over coaches or vice versa. And
Yeah.
so things that you are kind of preemptively prepared for. So for parents like Travis, just entering into sports, or for me, like I'm knee deep in competitive sports right now. And by all means, I can see some red flags that I have talks with my daughter about, like, hey,
Mhm,
we don't need to participate like that. That's not very sportsmanlike. And we go over what that is.
mhm.
But is there anything that you would show parents like, hey, my kid really wants to play sports, more specifically, wants to play soccer? We've done the soccer shots, but now we're ready for real soccer.
Yeah.
What are some things that we should look for in a coach or what in a league, even, right? Or what are some red flags about players or parenting or, rules, so to speak?
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot that we could talk about there. I think first and foremost, just talk to your children. Like, do they want to do it? Like, just
Hmm.
start there. I think, I think sports are great. I think, get your child involved in sports as young as you can, just to get them exposed to team environment, right? Winning and losing, what it looks like to be a good teammate, showing respect to coaches. Like, I think that's all valuable, even if they don't necessarily like sports. Like, I would say get them involved. Generally, something's going to stick. Like, there's going to be some group activity. Maybe it's not sports, right? That could be drama or theater, like any team environment. I think is worthwhile. So you want to expose your kids to a lot of different, um, you know, team sports. I would say just yeah, have like so right now. I'll just give examples that might be
Hmm.
easier. Lena does gymnastics, and she did it for a little bit for a little while, and then she moved away from it, and she kept bringing it up. Dad, I want to do gymnastics again. And so it's like, okay, that's where your interests are leading right now. Let's get you involved in that.
Hmm.
She was ready for real soccer, but we can't do that till the fall. So I was like, hey, this spring we can do soccer with the big kids on Saturdays. It's after gymnastics. It's right after gymnastics, and it's with kids that are 5 to 7 years old. Is that something you want to do? And she's like, yes, I want to do it. I'm like, great, let's have you do that. And if she's showing like that she's unhappy with something or doesn't want to do it anymore, we have the conversation. I'm definitely big on like, if a kid wants to quit, like I don't want her to quit. I don't want her to think like, hey, the day you decide you don't want to do something, we're just going to pull the plug, right?
Hmm.
It's like, no, you got to teach a child commitment
Hmm.
through. There was somebody, I don't know, I can't give credit to the person, but there's this idea that you can quit if you've won or succeeded in a day and you still don't want to play. But if you're having a
Hmm.
bad day and it's hard and you want to quit, we can't quit those days because those
Hmm.
are those are going to happen all throughout life. So, talk to your child, listen to what like how they're feeling. I mean, kids are like they want to be heard, they want to be cared for. So from a parent's like our job as parents is like I want to make sure that you feel like you can express whatever it is you're feeling about sports, whether you're anxious or nervous, or there's an interaction with a teammate that you're not like happy about that made you sad, like
Mhm.
let's talk about it. My job is to support you and help navigate those different experiences. Um, and so be open with communication with them. As far as like like which like of course you want your kid to be taught by great coaches, but here's the
Mhm.
reality. They're not always going to be taught by great coaches. Like
Mhm.
unless the coach is like abusive, like physically or emotionally, or it's really like, okay, this is a unhealthy environment, like just help them navigate it. Like, hey, I know maybe the coach raised his voice a little bit, he's trying to push you, like I can help them because they're gonna your kids going to interact with people in their life that they're not going to like, and they're like, I don't like how this person's talking to me, I don't like this environment. And instead of just protecting them constantly, it's like, I'm going to help you navigate this. Now
Mhm.
obviously that's not like, there's always extremes, so there's going to be coaches or environments you're like, I know what's best for my child, and I don't need them to experience this to teach him some lesson. Like it's too
Yeah.
much. It's
Yeah.
not age appropriate.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, so you can do your best to talk to friends. Like, hey, like right now, I've been talking to some friends about which league should I put my child in, because I'm not super informed about like Granite Bay or
Mhm.
Placer or Roseville, like which league has the best rec league. It's like, well, it just depends on really the coaches. Like who
Mhm.
are the coaches? So I'll probably volunteer to coach my daughter for the first couple of years of rec soccer, because I want to, and B, I think it would be fun, and I do have a background in child
You
development.
have the experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I can make it a really positive experience. Um, I think I'll give one other example, and this is where it kind of goes back to like just picking up cues on your child and what they want to do. I was coaching a premier age, which for us, that's K through second, at an
Mhm.
elementary school. And it was a group of like 8 boys, and they were all very competitive. And there was a mom there whose boy, his name was Brady, I'll never forget. And he was always on the margins. Like he would cheer for his friends, like, go, go Logan, go Brian. But he would never get in the mix. Like he was an
Mm.
encourager. He wasn't very physical. And you can tell he was out there because his friends were there, not because
Mhm.
like I love soccer and I want to get good at it. And the mom came up to me and she was like, hey, Coach Dave, can you help Brady like just get more physical and just like I notice he doesn't really get involved in scrimmage, and he's not as aggressive as the other boys, and he's trying out for comp soccer coming up. And in my mind, I'm like, hey, I don't know if that was his decision to do that, because
Mhm.
the way how what I'm seeing out here is like, I don't comp soccer. Even if he said he wants to do it, I would just be like, I don't know if that's going to be an environment where he's going to really succeed in, because he's going to find out when you get to a comp environment, like the coaches, right? They're not going to like it's soccer shots. Like we're fine with any child, regardless of what level they are, and how much interest they have in playing. It's like we're going to make it inclusive and exciting for everybody as best as we can. But in comp environment, he's going to feel out of place.
Mhm.
And so it was like, it's like, I don't know if the mom, like, just if it was like I don't know if it was, I'm not sure what the mom is thinking. But it's like you can tell she's kind of trying to force something there that's like, I can't make kids more aggressive. Like some kid that
Yeah.
either like there's things you can do to help, but like they either have it or at that age or they don't. And that's not to say that he can't have it later on, but it
Mhm.
just felt forced. So I don't read your children. Like you can
Mhm.
you can tell what they're good at, what they lean into, and then you as a parent encourage it. Um, so I don't know. I know I've said a
Yeah.
lot.
No, that was perfect. And actually, that's something that Travis and I touched on the episode 1 of this series is that that's why there's different leagues, right? That's why there's the rec league and there's the competition league. And
Yeah.
if you are really aware and connected with your child, you know if they are ready to play a competitive league, or it's more like pickup basketball league. That's totally fine. If you want to go hang out and socialize and make friends, and that's the why, then this league would fit you better. But to
Mhm.
put a child who's better suited at this time of their life for a rec league and then put them in a uber competitive league, that's a
Mhm.
disservice to the child. They're going to learn to hate the sport that they loved going into it for different reasons.
Yeah.
And then it's a takeaway from all the other kids who probably have been training for a long time to make that certain level.
Yeah.
So that's why with youth sports, there's different layers to it. And I think as a parent, introducing your kid to sports really has to do with their demeanor and what they really want to get. And I think, Dave hit it on the head where it's like, have a conversation with your kid. Does your kid even want to play sports? Right.
Mhm.
And if not, and Travis and I kind of talked about this, there's always these, and I'm putting it in quotations, but a lot of parents kind of vicariously live, lost opportunities through their children. And that's a quick way to get kids to never play sports again once they kind of, link those dots. So,
Yeah. I want to live there for just a sec because
mhm,
Rob, I think I heard you say in a previous podcast about when you're like you have your dad hat and your coach hat, and when
mhm,
you are supporting your child, you have like my job is to encourage you. My job's not to coach you. My job is
mhm,
to like if you have a question about something, like go ask your coach.
mhm,
And I think I can't emphasize the importance um, more to parents about when your child is playing, like just sit back and watch and enjoy them,
yes,
enjoy watching. Like
mhm,
you, this is when I go watch friends. When I go watch friends' kids play, and it drives. I hear kid parents yelling, and even if it's just like kick the ball,
yeah,
it's like it's the most like unproductive thing you can say. It's distracting to children that they can't hear their coach. And this is
mhm,
something I experienced. I mean, my dad was great. My dad was he was super supportive, and even when he coached me, there wasn't much like when we played when it was game time. Before the game, you'd have your chalk talk. Halftime, you have your chalk talk. While they're playing, zip.
mhm,
Just let the kids play. They'll problem solve. They'll make mistakes when you hear parents, oh, should have done this, kick it, like it's
mhm,
just like especially for young children, right? They're processing all of that, and then it all becomes about a performance. Like
mhm,
everything I do is getting some sort of response, and as young children, you want to like right, like it's kind of like oh, I heard a cheer. I'm gonna do more of that. Like, oh, I heard a
yes,
like a sigh. It's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. It's like, hey, just let them play without the pressure of whether or not they did. They'll know by the result of whether or not what they did was good or bad. Right? Like
mhm,
I know when I lost the ball. I don't need a reminder. I don't
yes,
need someone
yeah,
to tell me what I should have done. And
yeah,
when I score, I know that that was the right thing, or I made a pass. Like right, like I get there. There's this that experience comes with its own feelings, and so I don't need you
mhm,
to validate or make me feel some way about it. So parents like a zip it while they're playing, like clap. I would honestly, I mean clap, but I would just still say like dial it down. Like I would cheer, but
yeah,
like
yeah.
still, I don't know. Like for me, I'm sitting back. I'm like, and I would just smile and like I'm
That's it.
enjoying watching
I'm
you play.
holding the water bottle. Yeah.
Hold the water
No,
bottle.
I'm 100% on the same page, Dave. And you've probably seen this because you wear many hats within the sports. But for me, when I'm out there and it's something that I'll talk to my wife about, it's like it's unfortunate, but you do get the kids who have this added pressure to perform for their parents. And it's always the kids who are looking back after
Mhm.
everything they do, how they step on the field, how they passed. They're always looking back, and it's not to the coach, right? It's always to the acknowledgement of the parent. Did I do good? So from an early stage, like the dad hat and the coaching hat, it's like I'm not a soccer coach. I'm not a gymnastics coach, right? I can cut a mean bag of oranges and I can fill up water bottles to help out,
Yeah.
but that's not my role. And so knowing that, what I've noticed throughout the years of her playing competitive sports is she doesn't look back. We
Mhm.
celebrate at the end, but she's not looking for that acknowledgement like, did I do good? Right?
Mhm.
She knows she does good. She knows she's smart enough. She's on a competitive team. She knows when she drops the ball, but it allows her to build the tools required to overcome that self-talk, that emotion. Whereas if a parent always comes in to coddle or show concern, then they don't need that tool, right? Because mom
Yeah.
and dad are going to take care of it. They're going to talk to coach. They're going to
Mhm.
put me back in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I couldn't agree with you enough about that. It's like, hey, be a parent. That was the hat we were given. We can do. We can excel at that. So
Yeah.
Another little thing that I'm hearing from what you said there too is you mentioned it earlier, like the coaching matters. So maybe if there's a parent out there or a kid who has experienced not so great of a season doing something and they thought like, man, I
Mhm.
really wanted to do that, but it didn't go well.
Hmm.
If it was due to the coach, then what you're saying too is maybe try a different spot and they might end up enjoying it. Like it's not all done. Like you don't have to
Mhm.
give up
Hmm.
too.
Yeah.
For those who are like, man, I really thought it would work out. Or I guess for the kid again, right? Like we're saying, like let your kid tell you what is it that they're enjoying. If they don't enjoy it, then maybe try something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that we only have just a tiny, tiny bit here left of time. Here's what I'm learning. Let me tell you, I could have held off on the red light talk, and we could have had so much more soccer chat. I'm like, it's already time to go. Come on. But alas, I have to live with my decisions,
Mhm.
just like you do in sports,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
you live to
Exactly.
overcome them. Um, Dave, if people are wanting to get involved and maybe they're like, hey, this soccer shots thing sounds great, like um what's the time restraint on it, or like what if people want to get involved, how can they reach out to you guys and where can they go?
You could just Google Soccer Shots Sacramento.
Yeah.
Take you to our website. Our spring season kicks off the week of March 16th, but we're year round. We accept late enrollment. We have summer camps, winter, fall season. So year round. We love to have their children participate. But we just want kids having fun, whether that's with us or another program. Like we just want kids to love playing, love sports, love their team and the experience. And so that's all we're trying to do on our end. And I know there's other programs that try to do the same. So
For sure. And
yeah,
I think like what Dave said about like that closing statement about kids having fun, I think that's a good kind of framework for parents, right? If you're looking to involve your kids in any kind of sport or team activity, just go with it with the idea of like it should be fun first. And
mm,
anytime it's no longer fun, that's when we start to sit down and have a discussion on the whys, right?
yeah,
So like Dave said, we don't quit on a low, we can quit on a high, but why don't you like it? And a lot of times if you just talk to your kids, they will tell you why they don't. And if
mhm,
it's a quick fix, as in like, I'm just so tired after school. Okay, great. Maybe we join a club that plays a little bit later in the evening. We go home for a snack, right? So they're easy fix as long as you're open to have that conversation with your kid.
yeah. And I would maybe leave two pieces of um, nu-
Please.
two nuggets maybe for parents to also chew on. Number one, at the end, obviously during their activity or game, just cheer. And at the end of the game, your job is just to tell them how proud you are and how much you loved
Hmm.
watching them play. Like that's it. You don't have to ask them, especially at the end of the game. A kid's tired, they're exhausted. Like
Yeah.
we have this urge to like tell them immediately what they should do differently. But even like trying, it's like at the end of the school day, like trying to ask them all these questions, like your child's exhausted. Just say, I
Hmm.
loved watching you play. Let's go home. Let's have some pizza. Let's watch a
Yep.
movie. Like there'll be space and appropriate times to talk more about it. But just tell them how much you love them playing. um, I have a friend who's just like, he's like, I don't get it. I'm trying, like my kids, I think his kids are 13. And he's like, I like they don't work hard and I'm really trying. Like, I know I'm dad, but I'm a coach and I've played at a high level and I'm trying to tell them all these things and they don't listen. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm like, they don't want to hear that from you. They just want
No.
you to be dad and just say, I loved watching you play. That's it.
Hmm.
And if
Hmm.
they don't want to play competitively, like that's a decision for them to make. I know you as a parent, right? Like we get it. We know what our children's like. We don't like to see potential wasted. It's like, I know what you're
Hmm.
capable of. Like if you just
Yeah.
a little more effort, you could do it. And like as a parent, you know that that's true for them. But kids have to arrive there themselves, and they just need you to
Mm.
support them. And then the second thing, it is fleeted. There was something else that I felt like was really good. I wanted to leave parents with.
It'll come back. It'll
It's
come back. But yeah, no, I think that's a great kind of idea to leave with parents thinking like, hey, just be the role of parent, because being the role of coach and parent, and I know from my experience, gets confusing for the kid.
Yeah.
So they're not going to open up as much, especially for stuff outside of sports, stuff they're dealing with in school. Whereas if you just play the role of dad, then they have 100% faith, trust, and love with dad. They'll share everything. But once you start wearing coach and dad, and well, coach kind of yells at me and tells me what I need to work on, and I don't know which one I'm going to get. So you know what? I'm just going to keep this close to the chest.
Yeah.
So I would advise, like, I'd recommend, like, hey, just be a parent. Like, let coaches coach. That's why we're paying for the program. Let the coach coach, and you be
Yeah.
the parent.
That
Yeah.
thank you for that, because that actually jogs my memory.
There you go.
The last thing I would say is, we forget that these are kids and they've only been on the
Mhm.
planet for 3, 4, 5 years. And sometimes we have these expectations of children, right? Like to emotionally keep it together or to be able to
Mhm.
like emotionally transition quickly. Like as adults, we still can't do it. And we're expecting 3, 4, and 5 and 6 year olds, right? To like, you shouldn't be crying, or why are you like having a
Mhm.
meltdown? Like, or and we try to stop it or control it or pull them out of it, and it's like, be patient with the kids. Like, um do you like it when your boss yells at you while you're working, like, come on Travis, like, I be faster, be better, like you would just like you would quit. You're like, I'm out of here. And remind yourself when you're yelling at your kid, it's like, do I want like they we experience the same things that they do, right? So just like put yourself like in like, oh, what on the receiving end of whatever it is that you're doing.
Mhm.
When I want someone to yell at me while I'm working, do I want to get better at something that I'm not having fun doing? Probably not.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how am
Mhm.
I encouraged? Oh, I'm encouraged when someone like, like they treat me like a human and they express and show that they care and they bring challenge in like a respectful, encouraging way. You should probably do the same thing for your children as well, right? Like it's
Mhm.
we're no different than our children. So just keep that in mind whenever you're, I don't know, navigating the emotions of it all. And,
Mhm.
I know we want what's best for children, but yelling at them and trying to talk to them after a game, like it's not helpful. None of it's beneficial, even though it's all, comes from a good place, but it's
Mhm.
detrimental.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Dave, we could go on another 3 hours, this is the thing with the guests. I'm like, man, we got to have part twos for everybody. But thank you so much for gracing us with your
Yeah.
presence
Thanks, Dave.
and for giving us the 2 cents about the just like that the coaching and environment side of things that continues to give me encouragement and patient like or not patience, but uh kind of the persistence as of late from what I've been getting from everybody around me is like, hey, do sports, and I'm like, yeah, I like it, but my biggest fear has been like the time, right? The time that it costs to
Yeah.
do those things for the most part. But what I'm constantly reminded of with what you've talked about and the other guys have talked about has been um, so much of the development of our kids and the experience and the time that we get with them is all intertwined, and like there's so many lessons to be learned all within the
Mhm.
sports stuff that it's supplementation, and it's cooperation. It's not like it's taking from something. I think it seems
Mhm.
to be adding, and so I appreciate that from both of you guys. And that's a continued work in progress as I try and figure out what am I going to do with my kids. So really appreciate it. And you're always welcome on the show, Dave. So we might have to have you back sometime as well because it was great. Rob. He's got you beat on the golden nuggets today. It's crazy.
No, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good. I learned so much, and it's
That
nice
was
to
great.
hear it from another dad, right? Because I've got my point of view, my pair of glasses for life, and Travis does too, and we have a lot of similarities and some differences, but the overwhelming kind of consensus with all the dads that come on, it's just like love your kids, right? Be a dad. Like that's the best thing we could be working on is how do we be a better dad. And
Mhm.
when it comes to youth sports, it's just to support them like you wish you would have been or a version of that you were, right? So if you had a great upbringing and childhood and your parents were there, that worked. Just do that same thing for your kids. And if not, then think about like what you would have liked to see when you were 5 or 6. Well, I just
Mhm.
I just wanted to be picked up, or I just wanted some Kool-Aid afterwards. That's it. Okay, then do that with your kids. You
Mhm.
won't go wrong starting from that kind of foundation. So
Mhm.
As always, we are not professionals.
no, we're not gurus. We're just
We
three
are
dads,
just
actually, three dads
three
in
dads
real life.
in real life.
Thanks again for joining us for another episode. We understand as busy parents, your time is limited, and we really appreciate you spending your break with us. Want to take us on your next road trip? You can find us on Spotify and iTunes as well. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to help us reach everyone out there about that parenting life.